Welcome back to Breathe and Bake. Today we are making gnocchi, which is a potato pasta. And I find it easier to make than traditional pastas, so it might be a fun way to get started if you're into pasta making or you'd like to get into pasta making and you have not done it before. Maybe gnocchi is your first entry into that. I have 7 potatoes. The recipe calls for 6, but some of mine were on the smaller side, so I threw 1 extra in there. And then I have 7 little beds of salt for my potatoes that I'm going to roast in the oven. The salt is going to allow them to cook a little bit more evenly. On top of the salt, it's going to make sure that the bottoms don't burn. Just going to allow for a more even cook all the way around. So what we're going to do first is we're going to poke holes in each of our potatoes. This is the biggest one I had. So I have already washed these off. So now we just need to poke some holes in them and then put it on the little bed of salt. All right, so far, super easy. Clean the potatoes, salt bed, poke them with holes. I have the oven preheated to 375 degrees and we are going to bake these for 1 hour and then I'm going to let them rest for about 10 minutes so they're still warm, but I won't burn my hands when I am showing you the next part. So we'll be back in just a little bit. Hi everyone, we are back. Our potatoes are baked and we are going to go ahead and put our gnocchi together. I have a ricer here. It has these little holes that you put the potatoes through to make sure that you don't have any lumps. So what I'm going to do is I am going to take the potatoes and scoop them into the ricer and then put them through. And I'm going to continue that till we're done and then I'll show you how to make the dough. See how it just goes right through. And then we will repeat. Remember that these are still warm, but definitely cool enough for me to touch. I'm not burning my hands on these at all. I have a half a cup of flour here. I also have some additional flour just in case I need it while I am making the dough, so that way I don't have to go wash my hands all over again and dig through the bag of flour. It's there for me if I need it. And then I have also floured a cookie sheet as well. So I'm going to sprinkle about half of the flour, so about 1/4 cup, you don't have to be exact with this, onto the surface. I'm gonna go ahead and add those potatoes, and then I'm going to spread that out just a bit, sprinkle the remaining flour on top of that. And then I'm going to add 3 egg yolks as well. I'm just gonna scrape the rest out with my fingers. I'm gonna be kneading it anyway with my hands. So even though this recipe only calls for egg yolks, please do not throw your egg whites away. You can use them to just make an egg white omelet. You could use them to make macarons. You could use them to do all sorts of things. So do not toss out your egg whites. It's just nice to plan this along with like a day that you're going to be making a recipe that only needs egg white. I'm going to use the bench scraper in the beginning to help bring it together. That's good. And then I'm going to knead it. I don't want to knead this a lot. You know, pasta dough you might knead for few minutes. This, I only want to do it until it comes together. So just when I'm seeing the egg yolk and the potato and the flour all coming together, I'm going to use the scraper because some of the egg yolk is sticking to my counter and I want to make sure that's all combined. I'm actually almost already there. There we go. It's beautiful. I don't want the potatoes to get gummy, so you don't want to overmix. I'm going to now divide this so that it's easier to work with. I'm going to do them into eighths. There we go. Don't worry about them being even. You're going to roll them all out and cut them anyway. So they don't need to be perfectly even. So what I'm doing, it's just like when you're a kid playing with Play-Doh and you're kind of rolling it into a snake. I know I used to do this all the time with my boys. Just kind of roll it out. You want to roll it until like 3/4 of an inch thickness. I am almost there. There, that looks like about good. Then I'm going to use my bench scraper to cut them. Okay, and I'm going to put them on the floured cookie sheet for now. But we are not done with them yet, but we need to cut them all up first. All right, let's keep on going. If your dough starts sticking to your counter, you have your flour here that you can add. So I'm gonna flour my hands just a little bit so that the gnocchi doesn't stick to it. I've washed them since I put them together, so that way I didn't have a lot of the dough on my hands. So I'm just flouring them now. So it's taking away any moisture that's on my hands. I have a gnocchi board. Gnocchi boards have these ridges in them, which creates that kind of defining lines that are through gnocchi. If you do not have a gnocchi board, you do not need one. You could just use the tines of a fork and use that as well. So what we are going to do is I have a gnocchi board, so I'm just going to take it and roll it down. There we go. All right, so the gnocchi are ready. At this point, for cooking, you have a couple of different options. You can saute them in a pan of like butter and do a brown butter sauce. You could throw some herbs in there with them. That would be delicious. Another option that I'm going to do is make like a tomato-based ragu. And then you can boil these just like you would regular pasta. These only take a few minutes to cook and they're going to pop to the surface when they're done, and you can scoop them right out and put them into your ragu. So I will show you that while I'm cooking. Our water has come to a boil, and so we're going to add a bit of salt to the water. We have our sauce going right next to our water. It's going to be really quick for those gnocchi to cook, so it's important that your sauce is ready to go so that you can put your pasta right into it. Our gnocchi are in the pot, and as they are done cooking, they're going to come to the top. So once they come to the top, you could just skim them out with a slotted spoon. Don't worry about draining too much of the water. The pasta water is a delicious addition to your sauce. So just scoop them and add them right into your pot of sauce. And you're going to gently mix your gnocchi in with your pasta sauce. Here is my plate of gnocchi with my ragu, and I grated some fresh Parmigiano Reggiano right on top of it. Okay, let's give it a taste. I'm trying to get a little bit of everything. It's steaming hot. Those gnocchi are so tender, and they are just like so pillowy soft, and they go really well with this ragu. I really hope that you try to make gnocchi. I think if you've had it at a restaurant, you might think it's a bit more challenging than it actually is. And you'll be surprised that you're actually able to make it yourself at home. Let us know if you do try it. If you can, send us pictures of you trying it. We'd love to see those as well. Thank you for joining us again, and take care.